Good afternoon, traders. This is TonyD from Easymarkets in the Sydney dealing room. Update for today: we have a little bit more US dollar strength overnight. So those who are looking for the US dollar trend to resume after failing at 120 on the euro, definitely got the follow through they were looking for. It has actually hit fresh lows in the cycle, and it's coincided with a few other US dollar moves that were of note. But apart from the euro and gold, nothing else hit new lows so far. So the pound stood up well. Its wage data was strong, and that's the highlight really of UK data in general. Uh, Wage growth was a little bit underwhelming, but the numbers itself, if you're talking about the last 3 months, have been very solid, and is one of the reasons that the Bank of England was looking to raise rates and may still in the next few months if data starts to rebound after a very slow Q1. So something to keep an eye on there. US dollar strength was not able to really punish the pound as much as, say, the euro there. Now, dollar yen broke 110. This was expected if the retail sales last night were decent, and they were. Now, the headlines for the actual month weren't that great, but the revisions were very strong. So net, the actual numbers were beat. And so that's why dollar yen was able to break 110 and hold above it. Now, there has been some political developments in Asia so far today. North Korea is walking away from talks with South Korea, high-level talks that were preparation talks for the US talks in June in Singapore with Trump and Kim, mainly on the reasoning that they felt that US was being too aggressive in pushing for nuclear denuclearization in return for economic aid, and also upset that US and South Korea were hosting military exercises together. Now, this hasn't had much of an impact just yet. We'll see if it turns into something more. I suppose the world now is waiting for Trump's tweet on the topic to see how he feels about this sort of threat to walk away from talks. If he's very aggressive in his response, then yeah, things might unravel very quickly. But yeah, if he's a bit more measured, and they do come back to talking between South Korea and North Korea in the next couple of days, and this will just disappear as a main theme. If you're talking about why is the US dollar, what's driving it, why is it so strong? US yields hit fresh highs on the 10-year last night, 3.09%. Now, we've been looking at those US yields a lot last year as they were climbing up 2.7, 2.8, and 3% was supposed to be the boogeyman number. Well, last night we got to 3.09%, so it's quite high. And what's really happening there is that the difference between US and European and rest of the world yields is getting stretched, and that opens up a direct correlation to US dollar strength. All right, so that's why US dollar is gaining on each day. If you show me the chart go to 3.2%, then the euro and dollar index would be significantly higher. Euro would be significantly lower if nothing else had changed. So the ECB timing becomes a big part of anyone buying the euro here. Really, you either think that the US yields are going down, or you think that the ECB will be ending and being a bit more hawkish, and European yields will start to rise. And that's what's necessary for this to happen. But Japanese yields are going nowhere, so dollar yen is really the most susceptible to movements on those US yields. So if you see the US yields drop back below 3%, dollar yen definitely back below 110 in the current market. US stocks were hit on those geopolitical fears as well. Iran and Israeli tensions are still continuing to simmer, and obviously the violence on the Gaza border has created a little bit more of a powder keg situation over there in the Middle East, but that's nothing new. It is helping oil remain very strong. The most important numbers for oil come out each week on Wednesday night, and that's US oil inventories tonight. So we're here above $70 into that announcement. No real big retracement for a while, so there's a little risk there to the downside if those numbers show a huge build. But lately there have been draws in the US inventories, so haven't been really negative for oil price. Alright guys, if you want to have a chat about some of the pairs coming up or what's happening later this week, we do have unemployment numbers from Australia, next big thing tomorrow. Come through on the dealing room numbers below, have a chat with your dealer. We talk about some of the crosses as well. If you want to look into particular currencies, a lot of the crosses are a little bit safer these days, just avoiding the US dollar volatility that we're getting right now.